Hey guys, this is Unclejona here, and I'm doing a beer review, and this one is going to be slightly longer, um, I think, than some other ones because I'm going to be doing a beer review on this beer called Big Smoke Fruju. It's a New England IPA. If we look around here, it's just under 5% on the ABV. Obviously, it's a 330 can. If we look here, it has, whoops, if it will zoom in, hopefully. Oh, come on, dude. There we go. We've got barley, we've got oats in there. We've got all sorts of crazy stuff. Hops wise, says down the bottom there, we've got Azaka, Citra and Mosaic. So 330, suitable for those pesky virgins, vegans. Oh my god, I'm sure virgins could drink this beer too. And it's Sandown Industrial Park, KT10, blah blah blah. Now, that can is pretty epic. It is quite, yeah, quite a weird kind of thing. Now, I have got so much history with this brewery and the pubs that they do. They've got over 14 pubs that are linked together, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. So the first pub I became aware of was called the Sussex Arms, and they were my girlfriend's local pub when she lived on Twickenham Green, um, Sussex Arms. Now this was before the Big Smoke became a brewery. They were just a pub company, and then and then they also took over a pub called the Antelope in Surbiton. And the Antelope is a pub I've been going into since the 1990s. One of my good friends from school, Sherv, hey Sherv, if you're listening, I'd be very surprised, but hey, big shout out to Sherv. He lived in the road next to the pub. So we used to go drinking in the Antelope all the time. And one of my birthdays, I think it was when I was 21, something like that, the landlady asked some questions and worked out it was my birthday. She got a courgette, or no, it was a marrow, sorry, a marrow, wrapped a ribbon around it and presented it to me as a birthday present. And the old landlady, ugh, I've had a couple of beers, sorry guys, from the Antelope was just a fantastic lady. She was really cool. Um, and then it went to someone else, and then eventually it got bought out by the same people uh, that run the Sussex Arms, which was kind of cool. And so they had a small building out the back, which I guess was for horses and things back in the day. That is where the Big Smoke Brewing Company began, because they turned that small back shed into a brewery, which was really cool. And then I went back in there, kept a legendary of legendary low profiles, and they've got the weird thing about both the Sussex Arms and the Antelope is they had like a huge amount of taps. They put loads of extra taps in, so I think there were about 22, 25 taps in there. Just a ridiculous amount of beer, basically. And most of them you'd never heard of because they were from up north and all sorts of weird stuff. But they were all cask, and it was just for someone that likes cask beer, absolutely ridiculous. But the links do not end there. I haven't even opened this beer yet. So they also bought a pub called the Albion in Kingston upon Thames, which is part of the Fairfield. And my school that I went to is actually on the Fairfield. So both me and Sherv, the guy I mentioned earlier on, have been going into the Albion pub along with the teachers from our school since we were 16, 17, something like that. So for a ridiculous amount of time. So they bought that pub as well. And now that pub's got like 20 taps on it. It's just like, oh my God, synchronicity. So many different connections with these different places. And then, are you ready for this? So, as part of my job that I used to do 10 years ago, I was a trainer. I used to do apprenticeships and that kind of thing. And I used to work I didn't work as part of this company, but I used to do training for a company called Kate's Cakes. And basically they made cakes for like, Starbucks and Costa and, Waitrose and all the little nibble kind of cakes that you think are made at those places. They're not made there, they're made somewhere else. Guess where they are? They are where this new brewery is on, don't know if it'll zoom in, on the Sandown Industrial Park. So the new brewery for Big Smoke is actually in a warehouse that I used to work at years ago where people used to make cakes. Fuck me, it's absolutely ridiculous. So, Big Smoke, I know you're advertising for people to work for you. I'm currently looking for a job. If you want to link up with me, I will be happy to work with you and do anything for you because I've got so much synchronicity with this beer, this brewery. It is absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, cheers and beers to Big Smoke. I have had those beers, some of their beers before. Not this one though. And we're 7 minutes in. And I haven't even drunk any beer yet. My God, Big Smoke, big up to you guys. Absolutely fantastic. So I got my Canterbury glass once again. But let's go for a pour of this bad boy. It does have oats in it. So I wonder if it's got wheat in it as well. I'm not sure. Oh, that's very small writing. I don't think it does. Wow. It is definitely hazy, but not full on hazy. But you can kind of see through there. Look at that. Lovely, lovely smoky. Definitely over 2 fingers head, just over. And it is big, white, fluffy clouds. For anyone that's my age from the 90s, you'll remember big, fluffy clouds by, I think it was the Orb or Orbital or someone like that, who were also based around Surbiton, which is kind of cool. Ooh, wow. So we're getting a lot of tropicalness, but we're also getting something slightly different to the usual tropical flavors in there. Something yellow, something, yeah, something fruity, something zesty. What were the hops again? Azaka, Citra, and Mosaic. Interesting. Oh, I wonder if that is that yellowness. Like it almost smells like kind of apples, yellow apples. I wonder if it's the kind of green kind of hedgerowy stuff that you can get sometimes from Citra. You can get it from Mosaic as well. Cheers and beers, guys. And Big Smoke, I hope you really do well. But please get hold of me. Oh, oh, that's interesting. There is that zestiness. There is that kind of green thing going on, but I'm getting sort of a weird coconutty kind of weird thing from there. That Sorry, I should do this pour on camera. People will complain if I don't. I wonder if that's from the Azaka. That's sort of, it's not full on, but it's a nutty. It's coconut. It's like a nutty, coconutty, weird thing going on. But the aroma, there's something a little bit florally kind of thing. But yeah, it doesn't really come through in the mouth, but it's there in the nose. So we're getting zest. I am getting that kind of nuttiness as well. But I'm just getting this yellow stroke greeny stroke florally kind of thing. Like kind of it's not lilies, but like some sort of white flower, which I can't for the life of me, and I've had a couple of drinks so far this evening. Yeah, can't really put my finger upon it. Let's go in for a second one. Ooh. There's something about drinking through a big foam. Sometimes a little bit of the foam will go into your mouth. That's what happened there. So my apologies for that. But yeah, there's just something there. Okay, let's forget about that. So NEPA wise, or Northeast IPA, or New England IPA, I should say, not so much, weirdly. And the amount of oats in here isn't giving me that kind of creaminess that you usually get from a kind of NEPA style. So that kind of says maybe there's not so much oats as as maybe other people put in there. That is not necessarily a bad thing because the zestiness and the kind of tropical juiciness comes through as well. However, because there's that weird kind of coconut thing going on, because there is some oats in there which give a tiny bit of creaminess, it's kind of combined into a coconut cream, which is kind of in your mouth, which is, yeah, really interesting. But the zestiness and the juiciness is there. So we're getting the zestiness, perhaps. I don't know, maybe a sort of grapefruity type thing, but we're also getting a juiciness of a sort of pineapple-y, maybe kind of tropical, kind of papaya type thing going on. Ah, yes, it's the orange, isn't it? It's the orange thing from the Simcoe. That's the zestiness. Then we're getting a juiciness kind of going on as well. It all kind of merges together, though. Nice beer, though. Oh, really, really nice. And I have to say, 4.8, did it say? No, 4.9% on the ABV. I have to say that it tastes a little bit stronger than that. There's a good shot for my the front end of my video. Yeah, this is really cool. There is a lot going on in this beer, and that's not just because I like Big Smoke, because I really do. But there is something going on that's like more, more than your normal kind of NEPA. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. This is, when people talk about balance, And for people that like experimental brewing, they don't like talking about balance. However, this is kind of an anathema to balance. There are definitely three different kind of things going on. They're not balancing each other out. They're definitely coming through. You can kind of pick them apart. Ooh, wow, quite good carbonation too. Interesting beer. I would be very, very pleasantly surprised if this beer was a bit stronger. I'd say maybe 6.5, something like that, just so it gives a little bit of that alcoholness, uh, that heat that you get sometimes from alcohol, which isn't quite there in this beer. I mean, 4.9%, 5% for cash. Yeah, I'd say not quite strong enough. You're not quite getting that alcohol bite. That could be due to the weird laws that we have in the UK and people aiming for certain levels. Um, yeah, I mean, 5% is a standard. I think 6.5 is probably a standard, and then anything goes after that. But I would say this beer probably deserves slightly more alcohol. Um, because there is a residual sweetness there too, and I think if you raise the alcohol just a little bit, that would kind of balance against the sweetness of this beer. So you could definitely get away with it, is what I'm saying. Anyway, this has been a much longer video than I usually do, getting on for 17 minutes. I really do mean this. If Big Smoke, if you're actually watching this, please get in touch. I'm sure we can do something together. Because yeah, you are a fantastic company, and I've been watching you probably for well over 10 years now. So get in touch. We'll do something. Oh, I have to say that is a really, really nice beer. If you can get hold of some, please do. If you can't, don't worry. Tune in tomorrow. We will be drinking more beer. Well, I will anyway, and you can listen to me and yeah, listen to my waxing lyrical about all sorts of things. But this one was definitely a labour of love. Cheers and beers, guys. We'll see you real soon.